So the next two awards, we may be getting a little bit negative in a variety of different ways, because the next one, returning once again from the former Bytes, is the Things WWE Shoved Down Our Throats award, quote unquote, because I don't think anybody really wins in this one. I think it's more so that we are self-aware of things that are happening in our surroundings, and we're pulling them up into one list. And that's about all I'll say about that. So Keith, what would you say is the Shoved Down Our Throats award for you? What does it mean for you?
Just things that the WWE just ruthlessly and relentlessly beats into our head. Kind of like the following things that we've nominated for this award. The Women's Revolution. WWE network shows in both scripts and general advertising. History and breaking records in said history. How that we're in a new era of the WWE.
We are?
It's a new era, Juan. Super kicks and the Tope Suicida / Suicide Dives.
Can everything just win number one?
I feel bad about all of these. I just,
This is a painful list.
So what gets cut immediately? Is there anything people would cut immediately?
I would cut Super Kicks immediately because it's gotten better.
Yeah.
It's chilled out a lot. Maybe that has to do with the fact that the Usos are not wrestling as frequently. I think that's gone a long way.
And when was the last time Ziggler really abused the super kick? It's been a while.
I think it became more of a signature maneuver, so they finally toned that down. Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree.
Yeah, I'm on board.
So we still got to remove two more because we got 5 left. Between these, I would say that I would almost get rid of Suicide Dives. The thing is, okay, here's why I would remove it, and at the same time, why would be in my top 3. I don't know why. Because it's not like this is a make or break thing for me, but I feel nothing when they do this. I feel like this is the equivalent of a suplex. So it's got to a point where I've become so normalized by the move.
It shouldn't be like that because it's a dive to the outside.
But it's got to the point where it's so normal.
Though. I actually agree with Juan here, and that's why I'm willing to cut it, because it's just there and it happens too frequently, but it doesn't feel forced upon me. It's just something that happens a lot, so much that we just don't care. There's other things on here that are more like, oh my god, can they please shut up? Can they stop with this?
Okay,
it's annoying me.
So
the Suicide Dives, they've just made Suicide Dives not exciting, but it's not really shoved down our throats.
Yep, okay, I can get behind that.
So it is gone, and we now have to cut one more. So which one would you guys recommend?
I'd say it's either between the new era or WWE network shows.
Oh no, I will not cut network shows.
No,
that has been a very significant thing this year.
Then do we cut the new era? Because I feel like Women's Revolution and breaking records and making history have to stay.
New era's really chilled out, so that's why I'm willing to let it go. It was very forceful for a span of about 2 months, and then they've kind of cooled off. But those other 3 are things that are still happening to this very day.
Some of them have happened all year long.
yes, exactly. So I'm willing to cut new era.
I think you could sum it up. You can sum it up as the new era is no $9.99. That was on a whole different level.
Not nearly as bad.
Are you good with that one?
I agree. Now the big problem is,
how do we order this?
Shit. How do I deal with this? What do I do with this? So we have Women's Revolution, and just to clarify, we're talking about the forcefulness that has been stating, this goes all the way back to who started the Divas Revolution and the Women's Revolution, and just bringing up like the women are progressing, when you just want to let them progress. This is more so with Raw than SmackDown, because SmackDown really has not suffered from this. So this is more about Sasha, Charlotte, Stephanie McMahon, and the way that they've treated the women. Where
and Mick Foley as well.
Yes,
I think you could lump in there.
So it's that forcefulness of just not letting something be as good as it can really be.
Yeah, you look at the women's revolution, and before it was just about let's keep saying, oh, there's a women's revolution. So much of the Sasha Banks Charlotte storyline is we're making history. We're doing all these things instead of just doing them. And the women's revolution, the actual like language has cooled off, but the actual, the sentiment behind it is still very much still going. I mean, it's almost comboed with the breaking records of, oh, we're doing the first Hell in a Cell, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this. And sure, it's led to great matches, but a lot of these it's women's revolution for, we're breaking records, we're making history just to make history. And that's kind of the issue of today with the women's revolution. It's the best quote before was that, WWE is patting themselves on the back for breaking down barriers they themselves put up.
Never forget the bra and panties matches in the mud, the mud matches, the ones where mud pool things with Tori, with Cherry and all that.
Never forget the fulfill your fantasy matches.
Thank you.
Playboy evening gown match.
Here's my question: where do we draw the line between that stuff in the women's revolution and breaking records and making history? Because I feel like they're two very close to the same thing.
They are close, and that I guess you could put the barrier is they've been all about this more, especially with like the New Day and trying to break records there. So there's a separation of, if we look at the titles and stuff like that as one category, and then the women's revolution, we can just kind of look at like the women's feuds and how they've positioned the women. If we can make that distinction.
That being said, when you make that distinction, I think I would be okay with putting the history and breaking records nomination for number 3.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And then WWE Network shows. I don't share the same malice for this as you guys, so I'm just going to let you guys take the floor on this one.
I need to start this right now.
Okay.
The best example is you have Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is a man that loves to bash Michael Cole. He is against the system. But at Roadblock, end of the line, why? Can you just not say the first name? Or whenever they say, hey, you can go back and watch my history on the WWE Network. And like the one thing that I cringed so hard, I actually stood up. I forget who it was, but when they mentioned, oh, what? You expect this to be like an episode of Ride Along with Me? No.
Yeah, I was going to bring that one up. Yeah.
What the hell, man? What the hell? Throw the script on the wall.
I think that's funny. That's funny.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
It's bad. It's so bad. It takes you out of the experience. It's the ultimate just like self-plug, shameful product placement. And it's like their own thing. It's not even like, hey, I'm eating Arby's, It's like, it's our thing. We're selling you our thing. You're already watching our thing. It's just the way that it's, to take from one, take a shot, shoehorning in WWE Network, just WWE Network stuff unnaturally into scripts. It's so annoying. It's my number 1.
It may be my number 1 because here's the distinction, Keith, and you let me know if this sells you on the idea or not. Say Ryan and I have an actual rivalry that's happening in WWE. It's one thing for me to say, Ryan, you said on Ride Along this. It's a whole nother thing to say, oh, what, Ryan? Are you going to go on Ride Along and talk smack about me? It's
on
completely different. On Talking Smack, it hasn't even happened. You're bringing up hypothetical scenarios just for the sake of cheap plugs, not because it actually delves into anything else. It is just cheap plugs because it's your thing, but just let it be. There are other creative ways you can go about doing that, much like the women's revolution. So the complaint for these two, although they are completely different things, are pretty similar. But like Ryan, that to me is my number 1.
I can follow you and understand your hatred for it, but if you're telling me that it is worse than the women's revolution and how they're making history in every match and breaking ground in every match, and Mick Foley's here to tell you about all the great things that are happening and how it's the first of this and the first of that, and they're doing nothing like ever before. I can't follow you that far down this road, because that is the worst thing that they have shoved down our throats all year, relentlessly, all the way back to pre-WrestleMania. It has been nothing but that. And it's easily number one.
Here's one thing I'll bring up about that I just remembered. The one thing in WrestleMania that really took me out of their match was the build-up with Sasha Banks, where the build-up wasn't about the boss. The build-up was about Sasha being overly emotional. Now, okay, it is a historical moment. It is an emotional moment. But when you go to the YouTube channel, I expect to see something related to the character. But the YouTube channel, they stopped caring about that. It was, here's Sasha crying, yet she's supposed to be the boss. But then to this day, we say the real boss is Charlotte, because Charlotte, you don't see her crying every 2 seconds or something. And that was all part of the women's movement. And the closing thing here is, if you want this to be a real movement, you don't see Triple H crying when he won a championship unless it's part of the character. So if you want equality and opportunities like that,
character?
I would love that to be part of his character. Why? You're downplaying that.
But to play the other side of the coin and kind of to contradict myself, while everything is terrible on Raw, everything is totally fine on SmackDown. So if we're looking at it as a full picture, SmackDown does counteract it a little bit,
because it really goes down between Sasha and Charlotte.
Yeah,
it's a tough choice. The network thing is still number one for me, because that eats at me just a little bit more. And like the fact that I understand what they're trying to do, where they plug a network show immediately after Raw all the time. But the fact that it's always like, hey, you gotta watch this other thing every single time, and it's just, we get multiple, like, it's just piled on top of everything else.
I can't get behind that. I really can't.
Is it going to be down to like rock, paper, scissors or something? Like, what are we doing here now?
Well, we both picked it as number one, so we just gotta, we're enacting the bully clause.
Yeah.
If I cannot get AJ Styles,
choke. Get him in the bully choke.
Yeah, I think you are both wrong and are blowing that. I understand your hate. I think you're blowing it out of proportion.
No, Keith.
No.
I'll say this: if I can't even get AJ Styles in top 3, and what was the category already? Headline of the year. If I can't get him in that,
surprise of the year.
Exactly. At least, man, the least you can do is let me have this. Let me have this, Keith. Can I have this?
Fine. I will.
Thank you.
I don't feel good about it. But
it's
you
2 against 1 anyway. You never had your number 1 pick, Keith. You're out. You lose. Good day, sir.
I'm not the minority, finally. Just because I'm Puerto Rican, okay.
No,
well, not by all definitions, but...
Oh, damn. Almost. So, folks, after this emotional roller coaster, we proudly present the 2016 Byte That Things WWE Shoved Down Our Throats award listing. At number 3, we have History-Breaking Records. At number 2, we have The Women's Revolution. Cue picture of Keith being all sad. And at number 1, we have the WWE Network shows being inserted into every freaking segment, for crying out loud. Please stop it, Ryan. Can we high five? We got a high five, man. I don't even know what happened. But we did it, folks. Hopefully everybody is as happy as the dude from Boston and I are. Sorry, Keith. Has the WWE ever done something that is so bad or cringeworthy that you actually get up, grab the controller, and change the channel? Well, without further ado, up next we have the Change the Channel Award here at the BT Awards.